Okay. All right, I'd like to call to order the Gateway Board of School Directors Study Session Meeting for Tuesday, October 12th of 2021. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we do roll call, I'd like to state for the record that we were in executive session this evening from 6:30 to 7:14 discussing personnel. And Ms. Isha, whenever you're ready for roll call.
Mrs. Cerrucci. Here. Mrs. Delaney. Here. Mr. Gottman.
Here.
Mr. McIntyre.
Here.
Ms. Mongo.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mrs. Warning. Here. Mr. Williams.
Here.
Okay, we're going to move to comments from residents on agenda items. I do know I have one person who has called in advance, Ms. Daly. It was blank, so are you speaking on agenda or non-agenda?
Yeah, actually, I think they're gonna be on.
Okay, all right, thank you. All righty.
I think some other people may
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you. Okay, so we have two more to sign up for. Looks like they're both non-agenda items. All right, so we will get back to you guys at the end of the meeting. Is there anybody who has any comments on agenda items? Okay. Seeing none, we're gonna move on to section B, bills and financial reports. Mr. Schott?
Thank you, Mr. Gottman. This evening, we're presenting Section B, which consists of Section B1 list of bills for the month of October 2021. In addition, as we normally do, we will also have a second section of list of bills for October 2021 for the regular board meeting. But the administration presents these sections for the board's review this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schott. Any
You're
questions or questions or comments on section B? Okay, seeing none. We do not have anything for section C, so we'll move to section D, which is the personnel agenda. Mrs. Crump?
Thank you, Mr. Gottman. For this evening, we have 8 items that we are presenting for your review. Under resignations, we have 4 listed. We also would like to call attention to Sandra Balaski. She is the food service manager, currently working at University Park, but has been at Mosside Middle School for the last 36 years. And so we want to congratulate her and thank her for all her many years of service with the district. Under leave of absence, we have 3 presented transfers per the collective bargaining agreement. You will also see 3 listed. Under employment, we are recommending 3 names for a paraprofessional position. Also to approve the position of the administrative assistant to the superintendent to be added to the educational support compensation and benefit plan. We have 2 names listed for tenure. That's Kayla Biscuit and Megan Cordisco. This is per school code. Anyone who has completed 3 years of service with the district and their evaluation the last 4 months prior to the 3rd year is satisfactory will automatically become tenured and a professional employee. So these individuals next week will receive a professional permanent contract. Under supplemental contracts, we're asking to reinstate the following paid supplementals. That's the chess club and the outdoor club. We have 2 resignations, several issuance, and we have a list of volunteers.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Crump. Do you have any questions or comments on section D?
Mrs. Crump, what is the, excuse me, the outdoor club?
And that is formerly the ski club.
Okay, thank you.
I believe the,
Oh, a snow club.
yes, the club sponsor is looking to incorporate some bicycle activity in the winter time that we have.
Thanks.
Mrs. Crump,
Yes, sir.
you mentioned we have 2 resignations, but we see 1.
We have 4 resignations and 1 retirement. So there's a total of 4, 3 resignations and 1 retirement. That should be on the first page of the agenda.
I meant when you're going over, yeah, supplementals. You mentioned
Oh,
there's 2.
I apologize. There is just 1 listed. I apologize.
All right, thank you. All right, any more questions or comments on section D? Okay. Seeing none, we're gonna move on to section F, the administrative report. Dr. Short?
Thank you, Mr. Gottman. Dr. Rossi, would you take elementary education?
Thank you, Dr. Short. Item number 1 is professional meeting as listed.
Item number 2 for secondary education is discussion to approve the creation of supplemental teaching positions to participate within a Gateway High School credit recovery program during the winter cohort.
Item number 3, approve the renewal of the charter for the Spectrum Charter School Incorporated with all requested charter amendments for the period January 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2025, as depicted in Exhibit A. And item number 4, approve the change orders for Vicarious Construction Company in the total net amount of $166,000 as depicted below.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Schott.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions or comments on section F?
Sure, Dr. Chaky, this is John. Could you go into a little bit more detail about the supplemental teaching positions and the grant money that we're going to receive? And could you name these teacher positions that we're going to try to staff?
Sure. We've been meeting regularly with social workers and the counselors and members of the student assistant team in talking about strategies that we could come up with to ensure that all students with the Gateway High School attain that on-track status for graduation. Unfortunately, in going through some of the data, we've noticed that a high percentage of students in some areas have slipped as far as being on track for graduation. For example, in 9th grade, we have a significant percentage of students that are repeating grade 9 this school year. So as you know, this can be detrimental in the trajectory of students throughout their high school career. If that continues to pile on, we want to make sure that we provide resources for students that just because they got off to a tough start with the pandemic and with some other factors, that they can reclaim those credits and get right back on track for graduation. We're looking at adding an ELA teacher, a math teacher, social studies teacher, science, and also special education teachers. These are not permanent full-time positions, but these are teachers that would take on this role and be paid a stipend for the winter cohort. And we're planning on having a winter cohort and potentially a spring cohort to provide opportunities, a great opportunity to recover some of the credits. For example, if I'm a 9th grade student that's repeating this year and I've already failed Global Connections 1, I'm going to have an opportunity here in the winter to get some additional instructions like a summer school format in order to recover those credits. There's going to be an opportunity to be in person after school with the teacher to go through some one-on-one instruction. And there's also going to be opportunities to reclaim some of this virtually. So we're looking at students that need some extra resources, and we're planning on providing those resources to make sure that students return to on-track status for graduation.
Very good. Thank you.
Dr. Chaky, question. You're talking after school.
Yes.
Would there be transportation for these students?
Yes, we are planning to have transportation as well for students.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on section F? Okay, seeing none. We'll move on to section G, resolutions presented by board members. And for the public, this resolution is currently blank. This is intended for the current vacancy that we have on the board. As of this moment, we're still having some internal discussions regarding the process after we've received all the applicant information. So we will be revisiting this resolution at our next meeting for regular board meeting.
Do you need a motion to table?
What I need a motion table?
I agree with
Not
you.
to- Okay, all right. Just trying to be proper.
Yes. If we don't have one by next meeting, then yes, we would have to table it for a special meeting. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna move on to comments from residents on non-agenda items. And this evening, we have 3 that have signed up to speak. As always, there's a 5-minute time limit, so everybody can have a chance to speak. Ms. Isha does have the papers to just let everybody know what their time is, so there's no interruptions. So I'll call the first person, which is Miss Rosalind Daly.
What's that?
Oh,
Oh.
I'd like to address. One is that our curriculum should be open to the public. Thomas Jefferson said, "The price of freedom is eternal vigilance." The people's vigilance is to make sure that our children are taught principles of freedom, which include love for God and country and their fellow man. Skills should be taught and truths and facts conveyed that support these morals and values. There should never be curriculum that encourages doubt in those values, like the 1619 project, nor one that undermines basic truths like sexual identity or marriage between a man and a woman, so as to sow confusion, fear, doubt, or division in the hearts and minds of our children. For this reason, we the people demand full participation in the choosing and implementation of all curriculum and books available to our children and in our school libraries. These materials must never be procured in secret nor hidden from public eyes, not even the look. Rather, let's create and implement a policy of transparency and open communication with the public regarding curriculum and books that makes a clear and strong effort to invite parents and other taxpayers to view said books and curriculum at any time. Let's display such invitations to review curriculum and books in public places like newspapers, gateway website, and virtually any word source. They should be readily available. And I find personally, it's just too hard to find much of anything on that website. I can't find the agenda. Because I'm new at this, but everything that's related to the public should be readily accessible. It should be easy to find. I have a problem with that. That's not easy to find, and especially as I say, with regards to the curriculum. There have been too many surprises for parents. Here's a reminder for you all. Our children belong to the parents, not the government, elected or not. And not the teachers' unions either. When we refer to you as our servant government, that is what we mean. The people are the masters. We created this government, though not many people understand because we haven't had much civics education in years. True, we have let it grow beyond the bounds originally intended, but as our Declaration of Independence says, when any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, what ends? Our purposes and goals to preserve our freedoms and liberties and our way of life. It is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and peace. In other words, we the people establish our government and we can take it back. I repeat, the people are the masters of our servant government. Our children belong to us, given to us by God as the one and only stewards of their growth. and welfare. Lastly, I love full-time. We insist on no hiring of a full-time equity director. Let the administrators assess where and if there has been a lack of equity displayed by our teachers or administrators. Issues of equity involve the quality of teachers and administrators. Have there been complaints, clear failures on the part of teachers and administrators to uphold fairness, that is equity? If so, those issues need to be addressed. But even if no such complaints have been made, we the people reject any such efforts to hire a full-time equity director. We have an equity director in Mr. Shaky. Let's maximize his potential and that of his equity committee. That should suffice. And all that money that was going to be used to hire a full-time equity director needs to be used to aid the education of our children right now through helps like individual tutoring services such as the math, English, reading, and how about science labs? Use the money we have available to assist our already struggling children. This proposed full-time equity director does not serve the immediate or long-term needs of our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Daly. All right, very good. Grab that. Up next is Mr. Greg Nemick.
I don't want the position.
I would like to make a motion. No.
Please. My name's Greg Nemick. I live in Monroeville. I'd like to give you the address.
No, sorry.
Nobody wants to know where I live. First of all, I want to thank you, board members, because this is a thankless job. And for you guys to sit here and take punishment every week. There are some good parts and bad parts, but thank you. Thank you for volunteering for this position.
Some people in the audience might not know that you're a former school board director.
I am a former school board director. My last time in here was 2003. So why I'm here is I would like the Gateway School District to rename or name the wrestling room at Gateway High School the Richard M. Bain Wrestling Room. I put before you his Hall of Fame. I apologize. I couldn't go to him and tell him, I need to see your nominating letter with all your pertinent information. But this is what I'm presenting for you. So for your consideration, I'd like to, and then if it is passed, you let us know what boundaries and ramifications. No neon lights, just a nice sign. I could go on and tell you how profane he has made my life. It really, you can get emotional. He's a great guy. He's produced a lot of super people, doctors, lawyers, electricians, plumbers, construction managers, whatever. We even have a transplant surgeon in that group. I don't know about all the groups because his career spread over 34 years. So that is what I'm presenting to you for your consideration. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Did you talk to Mr. Bain and ask him if he wanted it to be called Dick or Richard? Because everything on here is Dick.
Well, that's,
You need to get a clarification on that.
it's Richard. I
Is that
spoke
what he
with his
wants?
mother. So, any other questions? Again, thank you for your time, and I will leave you with that. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Nemick. Okay. And last person who has signed up is Miss Jeanette Beagle.
name is Jenna Gable. I'm a Monroeville resident. I'm here tonight to kind of go over the last few weeks of my life and COVID with you guys. On September 24th, I have 2 children that attend Mosside, one that attends University Park. September 24th, my boys are in 6th grade. One plays the trombone, one plays the drums. This probably has been the highlight of their educational career, is being able to play with that band at halftime. The practices with the band and how wonderful our high school band students are in welcoming these boys and making them feel like the most important people in the room. I cannot express that they have found a love, and I appreciate that. So they played at the football game Friday night, which was wonderful. They enjoyed it. They couldn't wait to do it again. They wish they could do it every week. Saturday, my son Jacob played a soccer game. Felt perfectly fine. Saturday evening, we started having some stomach pain. I, as a nurse, was slightly alarmed, but it's not your classic COVID symptoms. I was more concerned that it was classic appendicitis. Spoke with his pediatrician because he wasn't running a fever. They did not feel the need that we needed to bring him to Children's to be evaluated. Instead, Sunday, we did a virtual visit with Children's Community Pediatrics. We were on the phone for quite some time and all felt that this was probably just some minor GI thing, but if you started spiking the fever or getting worse, we would have taken it. In the course of talking with my son towards the end, trying to get him to laugh, to smile, something, asked where he attended school. He said Mosside Middle School. The look on the pediatrician's face changed. She says, Mom, getting quite a few positive cases there. To err on the side of caution, would you mind bringing him in for a test? That's fine. We get tested. I wholeheartedly believe he was going to come back negative. Sunday night, I emailed the copy of the excuse to the secretary at Mosside. He immediately emailed me back and said, you need to keep your other kids home from school pending results. So we did that. Thursday, I get the phone call from Children's that my son is positive. At that point, I go from my nurse brain to my mother brain. What do I do? He's asymptomatic. He is perfectly fine. He's been swimming in the backyard pool for 4 days. I'm not concerned about that. Who do I need to let know at school? Who do I need to call? Who do I lunch? He said at lunch you don't have masks, so it doesn't stop at the threshold of the cafeteria. As was alluded before, it is very difficult to navigate this website. And when speaking with Mr. Jack, I had asked if he could please put a fact sheet up there for parents. If your child tests positive or tested or is waiting for results, this is who you need to call. This is who you need to know. It's not there. We need to do something to get this process along, especially since it's taking the health department 7 to 15 plus days to get information out to you from positive results. My child, I still haven't gotten a call, and he was tested in September that he was positive from the health department. So I don't even know if the district knows. By the time you're getting notified, you cannot do your tracing to see who you need to quarantine. So I think you need to relook at some of this information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Beagle. Are there any other comments from residents on non-agenda items? Ms. Boyce? Yes.
Cheryl Joyce Monroe. Dr. Short, since we talked about this, I didn't realize when you're talking about supplemental teaching positions on here and you're trying to get kids caught up with everything, which leads me to my concern. I've had a lot of conversations with parents recently that we're now into October. So you get a feel as to where the kids are based on, they've had a few weeks in the school. I know parents are out there looking for tutors. Some have the resources to do that, others don't. Now, I know that we have things like math labs, which I'm assuming is different than these supplemental teaching positions. So is that in effect at the high school? Is it going to be in effect at the middle school? And then what are you going to do about the elementary students as far as them needing supplemental help too? How is this going to play out? Because clearly now you can get a flavor for where the kids are at.
And very good question. We have, and our staff has done an excellent job of assessing what I call taking a pulse on where our children are at currently coming into the school year. And we do have a number of resources that are in place currently and will be in play here within the next several weeks, including after-school tutoring. One of the issues that we've had in the past would be finding staff in order to complete the tutoring, and our board is very familiar with that. So we, again, will advertise. We do have transportation available. Bonnie has done an excellent job with that in the past as well. We also have some additional resources that Dr. Rossi has in play that will also get out to the public as well. So you're going to see a flurry of activity here within the next several weeks.
If, I'm assuming if a teacher sees a child having an issue, then that's going to be a recommendation based on the teacher's referral to, it's not you're going to just wait for the student to say, especially older kids to say, I'm having a problem. The teachers will recommend that the child.
Absolutely. Also, we do have a number of data resources, warehouses available that provides the district teachers or classrooms with at-risk behaviors. And that can include attendance issues, grade issues across the board, misconduct issues, tardy, all of that rolls into basically an alarm for a teacher, administrator, counselor, and or social worker to begin providing remediation for our kids.
Because that refers back to what Jeanette said about when the kids are out for 10 days and trying to get caught up.
Absolutely.
And trying to get them where they need to be in those circumstances, because then we need something to do that kind of thing.
And we've also hired instructional coaches, and that was done through the ESSERS money as well.
And the other thing I wanted to know, because you used to do this, I know you used to use the high school kids, like the Kids National Honor Society.
Peer tutoring.
Peer tutoring to help, even I remember them walking down to the middle school to help do that. Are you still doing that?
We're examining that, but due to the COVID restrictions, we've kind of held off at this point with that.
All right, thank you.
Good questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyce. Are there any other comments from residents on non-agenda items? Okay. Seeing none, we're gonna move on to reports, starting with Dr. Short.
Thank you, Mr. Gorman. I do want to announce, and I want to thank Mrs. Daly for her comments there. We do have that information on the website, and I would be glad to go over that with you. I can announce also that we are looking at expanding our website, moving to another vendor possibly, and revamping the website. So there are a number of different companies that we're currently looking at. And we anticipate, due to our contract with Edlio, which is our current provider, expiring at the end of the school year, that we will have a new updated website. So I'll have more information as we continue through the next months. But also the curriculum is online, and I'd be happy to share all that information with you. Also, we did have our professional development on Monday. Dr. Rossi and his staff did a tremendous job. We had a lot of important information that we shared with our staff, including social and emotional learning activities designed to help our teachers identify students who may be at risk and the supports that we can get them to help them. So again, we'll be able to place all that information into a portal online. So full transparency with books, materials, curriculum, resources, everything that's available to our students. And please understand, the process is always vetted through a curriculum committee, really identified by Dr. Rossi and Dr. Chakey. All the information is vetted. We look at the materials and resources. It goes on public display for 30 days. So everyone and anyone is invited to come in, take a look at the different resources that we have, provide comments, and then of course the board sees it as well.
All right, thank you, Dr. Short. Dr. Chakey,
Nothing further. Thank you.
Dr. Rossi,
Nothing further. Thank you.
Mrs. Bungard. She on? On? Oh, okay, then. Mr. Schott.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Mrs. Crump.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gottman. As the public has seen, we have done several blasts out to the community stating that we are looking for all positions. We are currently have full-time custodial, secretary, paraprofessionals, food service positions. So if you are interested in applying for a job or serving your community, please contact us and we will get you in touch with the right people. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mrs. Crump. And
Are you going through the key staff right now? Update going on Gateway Middle School, and I see on Zoom that we have Rob Brown. But I need to ask him to give us a bit of an update as to progress is on that.
I'm glad you brought that up. And I was talking with Dr. Short, and
We're going to have Mr. Brown provide an opportunity next week with pictures that we took. Yes. So he'll be able to display a number of pictures that we took during a board walkthrough of Gateway Middle to provide our public viewing audience with the work that's being completed at Gateway Middle.
all right, so we're gonna go around the room with the board members. Mr. McIntyre? And Mrs. Delaney?
Yes, during the month of October, there are several awareness. And just a few I'd like to breast cancer awareness. Take that very seriously. My survivor. Concern for those who are not survivors, especially through it. Domestic violence awareness and relationship violence awareness. And that can affect not only students and families, as we know. And that's something that we should all be concerned about. Dyslexia awareness month, and that's an educator, that's something else that's very close and dear to me. And also just a few African American history. In 1806, Benjamin Banneker, famed African American astronomer, scientist, almanac author, and surveyor, he died in Baltimore, Maryland, at the age of 74. In 1929, and these are October 9th today, October 10th, 1929, Black inventor and engineer Elijah McCall, who held patents for the folding iron board, lawn sprinkler, and made numerous revolutionary contributions to train travel in Detroit. And also in sports figure in 1999, basketball legend Wilt Chamberlain, and some of you are probably too young.
Bottom died at the age of 63, which is fairly young, of a heart attack. That's no more further.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Delaney. Mr. Ritter?
Sure, I'm our PSBA, that's the Pennsylvania School Board. I'm the liaison for our team. And every year they have a get-together out in the Harrisburg area where they provide some training. Well, because of COVID restrictions, instead of offering that training out there at a cost to our district, they're opening the door and they're making it free for any of the school board members who might want to attend. So there's some great training on how to run a school board meeting, equity, finances, all the typical things that they do each year. So I'm encouraging our school board members here, go out to the PSBA website, get yourself a Zoom link, sign up to that, and it's a lot to learn. I know it's a lot. And some of these other folks who are considering running for office, PSBA also has a section out there on what's expected of a school board member and how to run for office. So if not this time, maybe next time you want to do something, PSBA is a great resource of training. So making that available to all of us. Okay, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ritter. Mrs. Mungo?
I'd just like to announce that next week is National Teen Driving Safety Week. So if you have any teens who are learning to drive, just be mindful of the risks that they're at, because we realize that the number one killer of our teens is auto crashes. So just always have open communication with them and making sure you know exactly what they're doing when they're operating a vehicle.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Mungo. Mrs. Warning?
Yes, this is the first time that we've had reports for a while since we've been back to school. And I just want to say it's great seeing the kids back in the halls, back in the classrooms, the teachers back. I don't think you realize how much these kids needed to be back. And they're just really showing it everywhere at all the athletic events that we've been going to. And, they're being kids again. And that's what they need. Last Saturday was homecoming, the dance, and it was great to see the kids just mingling, and talking and being kids. So, I'm just glad everybody's doing well, and I appreciate the administration with everything that they've gone through to get everybody back safe. And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Warney. Mrs. Rucci.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have anything for this evening either. So with that, I'd like to seek a motion for adjournment.
I'll move. Second.
Motion by Mr. McIntyre, second by Mr. Williams. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.